Hello, I'm Desiree Drescher, Director of Product Management on the Oracle Student Financial Aid team. And in this spotlight, I will be covering the capabilities in Update 24A. Today we're going to be reviewing the changes that were made in Release 24A to support processing financial aid for the 2024-25 award year in Oracle Student Financial Aid, given the FAFSA Simplification Act. The FAFSA Simplification Act represents a significant overhaul of federal student aid and focuses on the redesign of the FAFSA form, changes to the student aid eligibility determination, and improvements to how application data is collected and used. I will cover these features in the sequential order of how a student would progress in their financial aid cycle in the product. First, reviewing the ones related to aid eligibility, then packaging, and then dispersing and exit processing. So let's start with the changes that were made to aid eligibility with how we process the new ISER for the 24-25 award year, including FTI requirements, updates to resulting reports, and how documents and verification worksheets are collected from students. With these features, we were able to support the new 24-25 ISER format layout, which has been updated to accommodate the FAFSA simplification changes, which include new sections and fields being both added and removed, with a delta of 275 more fields. You will now have the ability to load 24-25 ISERs, match ISERs to students, view those files in a user-friendly format, and allow for financial aid professionals to complete ISER processing for the new award year. Due to the significant changes to the ISER, we have enhanced the configuration approach for accessing ISER fields within configuration. New methods were created to return a key value pair when accessing 24-25 ISER fields. We have delivered JavaDoc that define type-safe enums and data types for each field, allowing greater usability with autocomplete functionality. And one of the benefits of student financial aid is the ability to use our baseline configuration to drive the automation of the ISER processing. We've delivered comprehensive configuration meeting the new regulatory requirements, including resolving discrepancies, comment and reject codes, highlights, verification, and newly required professional judgments. Additional features are being delivered to ensure that you stay in compliance with updated security requirements for receiving, displaying, and sending FTI data within the ISER. FTI data is considered Controlled Unclassified Information, CUI, and each FAFSA contributor must give consent for the disclosure and use of their information. CUI labeling and modifications to the SAIG mailbox are required for handling FTI data. Within Student Financial Aid, you will have the ability to set your TG number and password for the new FTI SAIG mailbox that will be used to receive ISERs for the 24-25 and future award years. Upon receiving 24-25 ISERs, CUI labeling will be present surrounding the FTI data in the raw ISER file, and on the UI, we will display CUI labeling prior to the value for each FTI field. A new permission will allow you to restrict which users will have access to view this secure data. And lastly, when sending any FTI data, CUI labeling will be present. Due to the complete reformatting of the ISER, new reporting views containing ISER information for 24-25 ISERs and forward have been created while maintaining current ISER views for 23-24 and prior. These views will contain all of the new fields and allowable values and have incorporated security requirements for FTI data. Along with that, all letters leveraging ISER reporting views will need updates to their respective data models to pull the correct data depending on the award year. In order to support student actions required for aid eligibility in the 24-25 award year on our self-service, we have made updates to document owners and the verification worksheets. Document owners have been updated to reflect the new owners defined in the ISER. That's going to be your student, student spouse, parent, and parent spouse. This will be present on the self-service as well as when a financial aid professional requests documents via the administration UI. The dependent and independent verification worksheet smart forms have also been updated to support 24-25 verification requirements. Due to most contributors being required to get their financial information from the IRS, the smart forms have been simplified for the 24-25 award year. Header text and family size information instructions have been updated, as well as the smart form for the family number and the tax information questions have been removed. Next, I'll cover the features that were delivered to support packaging and awarding in the new aid year, from Title IV funds, including the changes to Pell and NEED, to non-federal funds and alternative loans using Common Line. Within packaging, we're delivering a number of features that will allow you to award your students funds for the new award year. Along with the changes to the ICER, schools will no longer receive housing data information via the ICER. We have delivered baseline configuration that can be used as a model for how to use documents or prior year's ICER data to determine what values should be used for housing on or off campus within your cost of attendance configuration. Title IV funding eligibility has been enhanced to evaluate updated ICER fields and comment codes for the 24-25 and future award years. The new Pell calculation is supported leveraging ICER data and a Pell formula, and NEED has been updated to leverage the SAI. I will cover both of these in a little more detail in the next slide. Since ISAG students will now receive Pell, a separate ISAG fund will no longer be included in packages going forward. NSLDS information will be supported to award 24-25 funds. For your alternative loans managed with Common Line, the SAI value will be sent in certifications and change files as required. Please note that the packaging and Common Line UIs will still show EFC in the labeling, however the values being pulled are for the SAI for 24-25 and future years. The labeling will be updated in a subsequent release. And lastly, any non-federal funds that leverage ICER data will have access to the 24-25 fields using the new configuration methods. All of these changes together ensures high automation to streamline your students' financial aid process, and since there is such a delay in receiving ICERs this year, this automation will be even more critical to ensure awards are sent out as soon as possible. The resulting packaging will trigger a financial plan outbound message that has been updated to include the SAI information. Students will then be able to view their awards for the 24-25 aid year and accept their loans on self-service. As I just mentioned, these are the two of the larger updates to packaging, Pell and NEED, so I'm going to quickly cover the changes here. For Pell, the flowchart here represents how the system will use the ICER data to determine the eligible Pell scheduled award amount limited by cost of attendance, then calculate their enrollment intensity in order to prorate the amount. First, we'll look to see if a student is Max Pell eligible, leveraging new Max Pell codes, SAI and ISAG and CFH indicators in the ICER. If they are, we will use the configured department-defined max amount. If not, we will calculate the amount subtracting the SAI from the Max Pell amount. If that amount is lower than the configured department-defined Pell minimum amount, we will verify if the student is eligible leveraging the new Min-Pell codes. And if they are, we will use the Min-Pell amount. Otherwise, they will not be eligible to receive Pell. If the calculated amount is above the Min-Pell amount, then the student will receive the calculated scheduled award. Once the scheduled awards have been determined, we will ensure that it does not exceed the Pell cost of attendance, then prorate it using the new enrollment intensity percentage. The enrollment intensity value is configured based on your institutional policy on the required credits for full-time enrollment, and our delivered baseline configuration can be used as a model for how to do that. For NEED, the formula for determining a student's need for FSEOG and subsidized loans remains the same, except that the EFC has been replaced by SAI and EFA has been replaced by OFA. The following formula will continue to be used: cost of attendance minus student aid index minus other financial assistance. Since the SAI can now be as low as -1500, the system will support the use of a negative SAI value and, as per regs, treat it as 0 for the purposes of the need calculation. Congress removed the provisions that allowed schools to use alternative EFCs when packaging students for periods other than 9 months, which means that the need calculation will consider the non-prorated SAI, COA, and OFA. In a follow-up release, the summer need calculation will be updated to use the COA, OFA for all terms within the loan period, including the summer term, the intention being to reduce the need analysis burden for the students' summer term packages. Prior to the follow-up release, any summer need results or need for periods less than 9 months can be reviewed and adjusted manually if desired. Moving now on to the updates that were made for dispersing and exit processing to support the new 24-25 award year. Our first priority is getting 24-25 awards to your students, and then subsequently to originate and disperse Title IV funds for the new award year once the Department of Education supports receiving these files. Since the 24-25 COD system implementation is still in progress, a subsequent release will be delivered to send originations and disbursement files. Effective upon completion, all 24-25 Common Record documents will use the COD Common Record XML schema version 5.0b. That includes a number of updated, removed, and new fields for items such as CPS now being updated to FPS, ISAG, and CFH eligible fields, and enrollment intensity. Within dispersing, we have also updated the late disbursement criteria to evaluate SAI for 24-25 and onward instead of checking the EFC. If a student withdraws, the R224 calculation has been updated to account for the changes in the ISER and funding for 24-25. As I mentioned earlier, ISAG will no longer be a supported Title IV fund and has been removed from the Return to Title IV calculation. Additionally, similar to late disbursements, could have been dispersed criteria has been updated to evaluate SAI for 24-25 and onward. For more information on Oracle Student Financial Aid, see the What's New documentation at oracle.com/readiness and these other resources. Thank you for listening to our Spotlight for 24A.